So John and Jamie. John, Executive Vice President, I3 Verticals. Jamie works with John. I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself, and what we're going to do up front is let them explain what they do, and so that you all know a little bit about their company and, frankly, why they're the best in the industry. How about that?
Couldn't ask for a better introduction. Thank you. So thank you for inviting us and having us. I want to give you a brief overview of who I3 is and what value we can provide to you guys, how we're kind of first in class in support, and overall the benefits of partnering with a company such as I3. So we were founded in 2012. Our CEO is Greg Daly. He's been in the payment space for 30 plus years. He was one of the founders. He owned two other companies just like this one that he brought public. One being iPayments. I think it's still in existence, and a lot of people have the understanding of who that is and the value that they provide and the core values within the payment space. And this is his third company that he's developed with the core team within the executive offices. They have 30 plus years of management experience, and we're proud to announce that we went public 6 weeks ago. So we're a strong and vibrant company, and we are on a trajectory for a 32% annual growth in 2018. So we're growing. We're on an annualized basis, and they're within very specific vertical markets. That's kind of how we came up with our name, I3 Verticals. We're in 27 different states, 36 different offices. So kind of to get into the nuts and bolts of this, so we provided a enhanced suite of technology solutions. The gateway would remain the same, but within that we provide an additional portal for you to be able to log in to view all of your transactional history, to have a better understanding of what those transactions look like, how it affects your bottom line. And we could also be utilized as consultants, as Jamie had just said, to help you better understand that. What does a Merit 3 line item mean for you guys? To me, it means a lot more than just one transaction, because it's multi-layered. And we try to walk you through that process to understand what merchant processing is, because like Jerry had said, it's kind of a very difficult industry for you to understand. And with the multiple different qualifying rates, 300 plus, it becomes very confusing for a business owner. So we're here to be your consultant in multiple different areas within technology, as well as within payments, to help you better manage your business. We have a dedicated client support team that's available 24/7. And I know that everybody uses that terminology of 24/7. And you'll be able to reach somebody real time. It'll be a live individual, and he'll be able to provide that support. And it's multi-layered support. It's level 1, 2, and 3. So something as simple as, how do I ring in this specific order to a refund, all the way up to my credit cards are down. I need to understand why that is, and what can you guys do to help me get back online. We're strong in omni-commerce. We believe very heavily within that. There needs to be a core. Everything that revolves around that is definitely payments. And that's what we're here to provide. We provide a deeper value for you guys to be able to get the support that you need. And I know that I keep on going back to that support, but support is key within payments, especially with the ever-evolving technology that's out there. There's constant upgrades and updates, and you need somebody that's experienced enough to be able to identify those issues and then correct them real time and very quickly for you as well.
Very often we have a slice of our client's business. A portion of your business is being transacted for companies, corporate apparel clients, teams, sports organizations, etc. Generally speaking, we're a small percent of other transactions that take place within a majority of our clients. As a result, the transaction process can get a little bit cumbersome. I3, no doubt, not only has the capability, but the vision and the sense through their omni-commerce, omni-channel is what it's called very often. They share the same belief we do, that a payment processing solution needs to work across all facets of your business. The ensuing data, the back-end integration opportunities, so that all parties work together. Candidly, the majority of our clients today don't have such a solution. We have a client that has 6 different payment solutions going on across 4 different channels of their business. And it is a very cumbersome and administrative process to manage. So it's one of the many reasons we thought, let's create a forum, introduce John and Jamie and the I3 team, and see what we might create together in the next 3, 6, 9 months to a year.
So there's multiple benefits by utilizing I3 processing. One, as Jerry was just discussing, is an integrated payment gateway. The ability to access real-time payments through either e-commerce or brick and mortar. One area that I didn't discuss, which I'll bring to light right now, is that I3 is layered within the payment space. And part of one of the verticals that we're heavily embedded in is point of sale. So not only do we have the ability to support the e-commerce side of the business, but we also have the ability to drive down to the brick and mortar level and then have a seamless interaction between the two of those. That's part of that whole integrated payment gateway technology. And we believe wholeheartedly that all falls into that whole omni-channel or omni-commerce solution for you to be able to utilize on multiple levels. So you have one point of delivery and the ability for one point of reporting. So whether you wanted to reside within your brick and mortar facility or you wanted to be able to reside up in the cloud through your e-commerce, that's your choice, and you have functionality between the two of those. Now, the second portion, or one of the most important benefits, is security. Everybody knows data breaches, fraud, all of those hot buttons within payments these days that everybody wants to throw out there. Mm-hmm. Well, we don't like to discuss the fraud. We don't like to discuss the chargebacks because that's kind of the dirty side of the business. But what we like to do is we like to try to stay proactive and stay in front of that and actually provide you the solutions so that we're ahead of that for you. And you don't need to worry about finding out additional information or changes that happen within payments technology after the fact. And when I say after the fact, could be breach, could be misappropriation of credit card handling, could be skimming, and the buzzwords go on and on. But what we provide the support and the consultation to explain what TLS 1.2 is, to provide you PCI guidance. How do you fall within PCI guidelines? What does that mean to your business? How do we minimize your costs of doing business, both on a liability side as well as on the audit piece? A lot of the larger organizations spend a lot of money on insurance as well as the ability to be audited on an annualized basis. Mm-hmm. When we provide the security, we provide the technology that minimizes that for you. We have a validated point-to-point encrypted service that's the latest in technology that supremely secures all of your credit card data. And the list goes on for what we could provide for you. EMV is another functionality. I know that really in e-commerce right now, there's not much that's being handled on that side of it. But on brick and mortar, that's a big part of what everybody is pushing towards.
Those that don't know what EMV stands for, what is that?
That's euro monetary value, or the ability to accept chip and PIN within your organization. Mm-hmm. It's an onset 15 years ago, was deployed out in Europe as part of the push to secure payments at the table, or so that nobody would have to hand their card over to anybody because they're experiencing rampant fraud. Right. So they put the chip into the credit card and they secured that data. So now the fraud level within brick and mortars has been driven from, I think it was about 7% down to about 1.2%.
And what took us so long in this country to adopt that? That's a whole It's
That's
so
kind of a
amazing to me.
political discussion.
Yes, I know.
Yeah,
I understand.
it's yeah. So basically, nutshell, what happened in Europe is that they centralized their banking. Part of centralizing your banking, you need to standardize all of your formats and all of your processes. In the United States, they run independently.
Right.
So each one of the banks pushed back because they didn't want to have to upgrade their systems to the latest technology. They wanted to provide the protection so that there was no breach, but they didn't want to standardize the process across all channels.
Mm-hmm.
And it became a very costly endeavor for them. And they understood that. And that's kind of what pushed it out for so long for the United States. And there will be 3 different variations of the EMV solution. Right now we're on one, chip and pin or chip and signature. The next level is going to be contactless. And then the third level, which would be EM3, which is a standard that was never enacted in Europe. And US is really trying to figure out what direction they want to go in at that point. So as of today, it's chip and pin. But in the future, in the near future, over the next few months, there's going to be a shift to that contactless piece. They really want to be able to secure that credit card data so that they don't continually issue credit cards with the chip and pin. They want to make it part of that mobile experience, as well as that data, as well as that data they want to be able to provide. Part of that whole EMV piece and part of the security of what you guys go through is P2P, which is point-to-point encryption, and then tokenization of data. That's, high level. What we do is we encrypt your data. It gets tokenized. It sits within your e-commerce site so that you can reutilize that in the future if need be, if that's the direction that you want to go in. But it gets vaulted up so that you guys know that you're 100% secure and your customers are as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last piece, which is the third part of what we're discussing today, is value. We provide competitive pricing across the board amongst all models. Basically, we are able to provide our services at the same level or a little bit better as to where they are today. We provide unparalleled support, and I know that I touched on this previously, but our numbers today reside at a 12% attrition rate, which is way ahead of the market curve or within the payment standard, which is 37%. They're constantly evolving and constantly changing, but we're able to maintain that because of our level of support and the technology services that we provide. And we partner with our merchants. We don't just sign you up and move on to the next. We have a dedicated account manager, one of those being Jamie, for instance, that you'd be able to contact outside of the support to be able to provide you that guidance and the consultation that you guys desperately need to better understand your business and how payments actually affect what you do on a day-to-day.
John and Jamie, what the heck is TLS? Tender Loving Solution?
Yeah, it'd be great if it was, but it's trans-layer socketing. So basically what that does, it provides a secure level within e-commerce. It's an additional item that you add on to the URL that protects each one of the e-commerce sites that you currently deploy. So now it's not the HTTP / any longer.
Right.
Now it's the HTTPS /. That's what the TLS is. It's an additional layer of security that they've mandated.
Some of you
and
might
that's
be,
just,
Some of you might be familiar with the term SSL, which was the former version of what is now TLS. And those that actually use Authorized.net or have your Authorized.net account, you were inundated over the last year with emails from Authorized.net and some of the other merchant providers that the transition was taking place, all moving towards additional security. All right, stop and interrupt as we go. So what we did, we got together and I provided to John and Jamie, they provided back to us. What are the most common questions that you get on a day-to-day basis? Certainly these are not all of them. That's why we wanted, like I said, create a forum to let you ask what is immediately on your mind relative to payment processing. So stop and interrupt us as we go, but just to keep the conversation going. On the screen are some pretty common questions we get on a daily basis, and John and Jamie and her team get as well. And I'm going to start with the very simplistic one. What's the difference between a debit card and a credit card? and how does the transaction differ?
Sure. So the difference between a debit card and a credit card, there's not a huge difference between the two because you still have the ability to utilize them in all functionality. A debit card, it actually is less expensive for you to utilize within a card-present environment on chip and pin with the ability to enter their PIN code. But it's really initiated from the point of purchase to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
And it automatically deducts from a bank account. So it's a much more secure type of payment function as opposed to a credit card, where a credit card is attached to multiple different organizations that provide their services at a financed rate.
Yeah, that's actually that chart that I had up earlier to show all the partner relationships that exist in a credit card transaction between the customer, the merchant account provider you brought to the table, the merchant bank processor, the actual credit card network itself on the gateway, all the way through to the merchant's bank, the money getting into your account. From our perspective, debit cards and online, on a daily, weekly basis, we get 2, 3, 4 a day at least, in which one of your shoppers is logged into a TUO store. They've made a purchase or they've attempted to make a purchase. For whatever reason, they didn't match the shipping at the mailing address correctly, and it was declined, and they'll try it again and again and again using a debit card. What most people are not aware of is every time you make an effort that's unsuccessful, transacting business, especially online, it's actually putting a hold on that amount in your bank. So we do get a lot of angry calls. We had one about a month ago where someone had tried 10 times entering the wrong information using a debit card. They had over $3,000 held in their bank. And of course, they were furious at us and furious with our client. It took several phone calls to explain to them how debit cards work. And then we, again, said, if you're going to do business online, general rule of thumb, use a credit card for that reason. So, John, what's a gateway? I hear that term a lot. Authorized.net is a gateway. What does a gateway do?
Gateway overall is a virtual terminal. So that's the basic functionality. It's virtually stored in the cloud. Mm-hmm. It provides the merchant the ability to either log in through a portal or to attach it to a shopping cart to be then able to process credit cards. So it's kind of middleware between the shopping cart for e-commerce as well as the point of sale for brick and mortar to be able to transact through the cloud. And I know the cloud, everybody likes to joke about the cloud, but overall, to be able to transact through the networks and drive the information down the right channel or through the right pathing.
Mm-hmm. So suffice to say, the complexity of all of the technology backbones that drive a credit card transaction, to get the money, make sure it's in that account, to verify the purchase immediately. Most of the processing happens late at night, in which all transactions done over the course of a day are officially batch processed, and then the money is distributed to each individual bank or taken out of each individual bank. It is a very complex process, no doubt. So, Pete, you mentioned earlier PCI compliance and security. Tell us what that is.
PCI compliance it's a card issuer mandated regulation that everybody needs to deliver a solution that protects credit card data. So in effect, what it does, it protects the flow of the transactional data from the point of purchase all the way through to the end user's bank or to the merchant's bank. So there's multiple different levels of PCI compliance. I believe I don't even know the dot version. Right now it's 2, but overall it sets specific guidelines it sets specific guidelines by the card issuers that you need to meet in order to be compliant or for you to do your share, to say that we've got this technology in place. We understand all these different features and functions and securities that need to be established, And then at the end, there's a sign off that says, not only do we agree that we've done that, but we're signing it and saying that we have done that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is on two levels. One, to protect the end user or the person, the consumer, or second, to protect the actual business.
So again, headline on that is very, very safe, increasingly safer way to transact business, but there's a lot that goes into it from a technological and from a compliance standpoint. So does anyone have a question they'd like to ask?
Do you provide assistance in complying with the PCI requirements, and or if there is an issue that comes up in helping us resolve it? But we had a situation where I tried to get a hold of PCI and I left a message and they never got back to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this hidden entity to us that we have to fill out a compliance form once a year that they charge us for. And I'm assuming somebody like you would have better luck in helping us try to navigate what's going on.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So as part of what we do, we are, as I had said before, consultants within the payment space. We do also provide that PCI security. We do provide the consultation. If you do have any specific questions related to PCI, we'll be able to help you successfully navigate through that instead of trying to reach out to PCI.org, which is the overall, I would say, de facto agency that's now established themselves as the industry leader. But overall, we provide you that guidance. If you have any specific questions as to what PCI is or why you need to sign off on the PCI compliance at the end of each year, if you need us to provide additional services for you, auditing, penetration tests, validation of security standards, we're able to do that for you as well. So we're just not payment providers that provide you the vehicle to utilize credit cards, but we also provide you multiple different areas wrap itself around payments itself, and PCI is definitely one of those.
So I'm actually curious, in that instance, why was your current provider not able to help you as opposed to having to go directly to PCI.org?
Well, I never reached out to them,
okay.
quite honestly.
Yeah, that's an issue you should take up with your merchant provider. And if they're not, if they're not on top of knowing what that is, I think that's a support point to what John and Jamie were saying. Having the service component is probably the most important. Having someone available that you know who to call when you need to call on any issue. And very honestly, it is an attribute again to why we selected I3. A very common problem, unfortunately, for the majority of our clients that don't necessarily relate to TUO is what you just said. I don't know who my merchant provider is. I haven't spoken with someone in about a year or two or three. They do, in fact, do what John said, and there are a lot of companies out there that do it. They hook up the pipeline to you, and they create a little small pipeline that siphons off your money to them, and you never hear from them. It is a big, big common problem with a lot of our clients, not just our clients, but out there. So, Jamie, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Ready. The suggestion that you made about data reporting, can you talk a little bit about data and the whole concept of not only the transactional data that comes through, but the value of all that data and how it can be useful to run a business?
Yeah, of course. So I understand just by kind of taking your stance, this is really complicated stuff. So my job is to make that turn into English for you as kind of the person that doesn't understand these terms. So with our service, you get a back office. And that back office, you'll have a link sent to you where you create a login and password, and you can see what all of your numbers are daily. You can understand which employee took what transactions. You can see what your daily totals are. You can see what your merchant statement is. You can see what your deposits are, all of your decline transactions, all of those kind of things. And you also have access to other features like PCI questionnaires and simple questions answers and how-tos and all of those kind of things.
How many of you are using or have access to or could even get access to your transactional data with your current merchant provider? I'm going to suspect.
I can through TSIS. We're through TSIS, and we have a website that we go through, and it shows all kinds of reports.
Good.
On a daily basis.
How do you use it to drive your business, if I may ask?
I don't.
No, I'm setting up a little bit because that too is there are providers that provide reams of data. It's not the data that's important. Can you work with somebody to help me figure out what it means for my business? Help me analyze it? So anyway, another editorial comment.
How do we go about finding, or when would we have access to what costs would be through I3?
Great question. So at the end of the call, Jerry will provide our contact information. You can reach out to John and myself personally, and we'll do one-on-ones with you. So we'll go through an evaluation of your cost, your business, and get a proposal to you. And again, in plain English, here's what you're currently paying, here's what the side-by-side comparison is, and the savings potential.
So let me tell you a true story. It happens all the time. I'm just representing it in this story. Last week, we were actually pitching a new client. They were diligently trying to figure out TUO equal PR, use the TUO platform merchant account, or use their own. And of course, the person declared that, of course, they're going to use their own merchant account because they're paying 1.99% aggregated total across every transaction, right? And they were adamant about it. Every once in a while, just to have fun, not for any other reason, we challenge, we make them go through an audit step and go back through and see if they can reconstruct the monthly subscription fees, the per transaction fees. Long story short, after about a week or so, client did call back and say, not only is it not 1.99, but it's well over the 3.25 rate, and I have no idea if I've actually found every charge. So as John and Jamie know firsthand, that's by design. Many providers purposely try to hide where all of the transaction fees are, who gets what. And that's another reason why we're on this session with the folks from I3, is that, you know what, it should be transparent. It, of course, has to be transparent. You should know what your rate is, and you should know every charge that's being applied. All right, for now, here's what we're going to suggest. John and Jamie have been kind enough to offer their time. So what we've decided is the best way to do this so that they're not inundated with a bunch of emails. Just reach out to me. Let me know that from the session you're intrigued and you would like to borrow 30 minutes, 1 hour of their time. I'd like to get on a call. I'd like to prepare my specific questions because I did not want to expose them to a general audience. And I would like to pick John and Jamie's brain to talk about my business. They'd be happy to do it. We won't necessarily be involved in those conversations, but we'll make it easy for John and Jamie to facilitate anybody that's interested. Okay? So everyone on this session should probably already have my contact information. Just shoot me an email after this session. Give me a phone call. We'll coordinate a time that works. They both travel a lot, but we'll coordinate a time that works, and they'd be happy to actually jump on a quick call and discuss your specific business needs.
That was great, Jerry. Thanks again for all your great service.
Oh, well, you're so nice to say that. I'll send the check tomorrow.
Good. Perfect.
All right. So last chance.
I'm not going to require you to send it certified like I have in the past. Just send it regular mail, pal.
I actually know who this is. All right. We appreciate your time today. We know you're all very busy. This is a very important and often overlooked area of the majority of the clients we work with, of course. But it's only going to get more so important and imperative moving in the years ahead with all the changes that John and Jamie, of course, laid out today. So John and Jamie, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone have a great day.